Greetings and salutations, this is Emperor Vespasian and his trusty sidekick.
Hello.
Today we're going to be doing an unboxing video from some new figures we've just got, which are Fireforge Games figures, and they're awesome. And they're from the Deus Vault range. What does Deus Vault mean?
I know, I don't speak Latin.
Work it out. What Latin do you know?
Okay then, Deus must be, well, if I've learnt it from something else, it will be, because it is Deus et Machina, and Deus means
Deus Machina, yeah.
God.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing Deus is God.
Yeah.
And Vault is wants or will.
Alright. Smash pants. Fine.
Hey!
It's the last time I'm inviting you onto one of my videos. I'm the clever one.
Oh, no more.
Oh god, someone's at a dictionary. Okay, so they're from the Deus Vaults range, which is the Crusader range, the range of the of figures from the medieval period, late Dark Ages to early medieval, mid-medieval, and they all cover the general Crusades as a whole. There were quite a few Crusades. There's about 8 of them, not 7 or 8 of them, and depending, well, what's a crusade? It's a bit complicated. There were a lot of like mini crusades that weren't official crusades, which were just people.
Behind the scenes.
Yeah, it was people saying let's invade Russia, and saying oh it's a crusade, when asked why they're doing it, because the Russians are heathens, we're going to kill them all. Yeah, so there were lots and lots of crusades. A few of them were, the more famous ones were against Muslims, which is why we're all taught in school that the crusades were evil and horrible, although the reason you're sat there speaking English in a school and not a madrasa is because of the crusades. So be very happy the crusades happened. So this is the box. I'm going to pop them open now because there's no point just looking at the front cover.
Someone might have a jitty fit.
Yeah, they do that. These boxes are lovely. They're like the Warlord Games boxes, with the normal stuff, and you've got quite a few ideas on the back and some other things from these ranges, and these knights are absolutely lovely. But we're starting with these guys first, who are the
Foot sergeants.
Foot Sergeants. We discussed this the other day. Why are they called sergeants? Why Foot Sergeants? What does sergeant mean?
Leader.
No? No. Sergeant means leader in the modern term. It's a veteran officer, a veteran soldier, who is
Not many of
put
them
in
alive
charge of the
anymore.
squad. Well, we do have sergeants in the modern armies, but in those days, sergeant meant veteran.
Yeah, that's exactly. We don't have a
Yeah.
lot of them anymore.
So these guys are basically veteran infantry, not your normal run-of-the-mill
Men.
dross.
Soldiers.
Yeah, these are actually guys with a little bit of training. They've got pretty decent equipment, which is quite expensive, and they're better than your average peasant who's given a pitchfork to fight with.
Hey, that's scary.
Yeah. All Deus Vault stuff, all Fireforge Games stuff comes with bases like these, and they're very cool bases. That's the 6x4 base, and they're really useful if you want to use them on 6x4 bases. And I think we're going to keep these handy for our Napoleonics when we get
Well, we
them.
have them on clear.
I was going to put them on these. Why? Do you want to do them on clear as well?
Well, everything and what I touch now is going to be on a clear base.
Oh, right. Okay, fine. In that case, we'll get some 6x4s clear bases.
Right, yep.
All the bases are, all the sprues are identical, so I'll just shift them all over here and we'll just have a look at this particular one. So figure-wise, you've got 8 figures. I can't count. The figures are in different types of armour and tunic. These guys are wearing normal padded felt armour. There's a guy with fish scale leather armour, which is layers of stiffened leather laid on top of each other to make so wherever a sword hits you, you've got 3 layers of leather. There is a bit of sort of questioning at the moment as to whether or not leather armour was actually even a thing.
I don't think it was.
Well, no, but there's a lot of like people wearing leather armour, but they may not actually have worn leather armour.
No, it might have
It
been
may have been
on patrol.
Yeah, basically fictitious.
Just
Soldiers would probably
hang
go.
around in the just came out of barracks.
Yeah, so they would most likely have worn felt, which is very, very thick, tough, fur-like stuff, which you wore underneath your whatever armour you're wearing, and it would be that absorbed the damage. So the stiffened leather would be simply an overcoat to stop it getting wet and stuff. I mean, leather's tough stuff, but it's not going to stop you getting a bone broken.
That's not going to stop a mace.
Well, no, nothing stops a mace.
Goes out the head.
Have you seen the video on YouTube where a guy is trying out swords?
Yeah, you saw me.
Yeah, and he walks up to a guy in complete plate armour and starts beating the guy in plate armour with a sword, and the guy's just stood there staring at him.
No, it's actually a guy in all.
Yeah, because there's actually a guy wearing armour, and this guy's hitting him hard with a sword, and it's doing nothing to him because the sword's not going to do anything to plate armour. It's just not even going to dent it. Oh, that's because the stupid thing is so that's my fault, my bad.
Stupid boy.
Yeah, my bad. I didn't attach the attacher thing. So, as mentioned, I'll just see if I can adjust this down so you can get a much better close-up of them. Is that better? Should we bring some more lighting over here?
Yeah, I was wondering because it's going in my face and it hurts.
Oh, sorry. I'll bring some more lighting so you can get a really good view of these guys. That's better. I can see them better now. Okay, so as I said, we've got a guy with layered leather armour there. There's another guy with a different type of layered leather armour. It's like fish scale armour. Two guys in a halberd. So underneath this cloth sheet will be a load of layers of felt. And then you've got another guy in studded armour, which is okay. It's decent. So yeah, they're not badly armoured. They're quite well kitted out as regular soldiers. Then you've got the helmets. You've got the most interesting and amusing helmet, which is this little flat helmet, which is one of my all-time favourite Middle Ages helmets. I just love that helmet. Then you've got the wide helmet. Think of the film Braveheart. These are basically the soldiers.
My favourite helmet is this one.
Yeah, the wide one. Yeah. And why did we start to use the wide brim helmet?
Well, to let rain out.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm so smart, aren't I?
Yeah, that's why it started. We had particularly rainy weather.
Yes, England.
During the medieval warm period.
Right.
We had monsoons, so it rained continuously for months on end, and so the wide brim helmet came in. The same reason why in the Spanish Succession soldiers wore tricorn hats. The tricorn hat, the hat with three corners,
let rain out.
Yeah, they're drains. The rain lands on the hat and it drains off the three corners, so the water doesn't go on the uniform.
That's always a problem in World War II.
Yeah, and it's also why Romans didn't need to use wide brim helmets either, because it wasn't so much of a problem. It was all worn back then.
Where they were, yes.
Yeah, I mean, England was practically rainforest. It was tropical.
Yeah, but then they deforested it.
And it was about 2 degrees hotter than it is now. So it was really, really warm up here. And the Romans really didn't like it. It was just too hot for them. Which is funny, because these are guys who are coming from the Mediterranean.
Yeah.
Where
it's opposite now, isn't it?
Yeah, where English people go on holiday to get sun. Whereas back then, the people in the Mediterranean thought it was too sunny in the north. Although they didn't like the rain, because it did rain quite a lot then. The Romans do write letters home about the English weather, or the British weather.
You need water for the rainforest to keep growing.
Yeah.
Until the Romans came and cut it all down, built walls, and made civilization. Yeah.
And made it civilised.
Yeah, that's what it said.
Yeah. Civilization is a good thing. Just going to adjust this so you can...
You're obsessed with adjusting the camera.
No, it's so you can get a really good close-up. And you're going to get a shadow from the lamp, which is
Downside.
Which is a downside. Yeah. Unfortunately, we've lost our camera. Our camera is at the camera doctor's, so we're having to film this on the GoPro.
But
which
they said we'll get it back like a couple of days ago.
Yeah. No, that was 10 days ago. We haven't had a camera for 10 days, so which is why we're filming with this, and I can't zoom in on the figures because the GoPro doesn't have a zoom. You have to physically move closer, and then the lighting is just awful. So anyway, we'll get to shields next, which I think is the most important one. All the shields are the fluted shield, the teardrop shaped shield, which pretty much became standard type of shield during the medieval period. Basically, it will protect your legs from arrow fire. And yeah, it originally was designed for cavalry to use and spread to infantry. Downside to it is you can't really lock shields. We didn't use shield lock tactics, so we didn't form a testudo.
Which would have helped.
Yeah,
it would have helped.
We couldn't do it. We didn't do it. We stopped using formations like the testudo because the Roman Empire came to an end, and we simply didn't have the trained troops. Oh yeah, all armies use wedge, but
yeah, of course that's how we win battles.
Yeah, technology had moved forwards, and actually no, technology had moved backwards.
Yeah, back then, yeah.
Lack of training, lack of decent weapons. Weapon-wise, I love these weapons. They're awesome. So we have a thing that's come off the sprue there, which is unfortunate. Crossbows, which are great for untrained soldiers. You see, you're beginning to see the lack of decent, well-trained men and well-training of regiments and formations because you no longer have the ability to create bowmen.
Yeah, anyone who's ever in the front rank never makes it out alive. Even if you're good or not. So, same.
That doesn't follow.
Yeah, it does follow actually.
No, it doesn't. You think about it, in the front rank, you're the one who can see the bad stuff coming. If you're in the back rank, a huge rock falls out of the sky and hits you, you can't get out of the way because you don't see it coming.
If it has to range to get to the back.
Yeah, they do.
Really?
Yeah, stone throwers have a range of about 80 yards. So, yeah, they have the range. So, anyway, weapon-wise, the crossbow had come into use quite a lot because crossbowmen do not require training and do not require additional body muscle memory. Building your muscles in order to be able to fire a bow. So crossbows become the weapon of choice for inexperienced, untrained soldiers. And the French army of the period used massive amounts of peasants in its armies, but only as crossbowmen. Because the peasants weren't important, and only chivalrous knights were the ones who were supposed to do the real fighting. So
Which is quite good.
Yeah, so they gave the peasants crossbows, so they could sit there and hopefully not injure themselves and fire
or injure
arrows.
their own allies when you hit them.
Yeah. The French also hired a lot of mercenary soldiers as well to fight for them. The British didn't because we couldn't afford it.
No, we already had a well-trained army anyway.
And we did have we did have not a permanent standing army, but we did have a tradition of a military class, made up of normal people. Do you know that an average soldier was paid every day, sir?
No.
Sixpence.
Oh yeah, I told that, yeah.
Right. Standard wage of a British soldier was 6 pence.
Sixpence.
Which wasn't bad wage for the period. And the reason the British Army was mostly made up of men-at-arms rather than knights, or longbowmen rather than men-at-arms, was because men-at-arms cost 12 pence each. So you could get twice as many bowmen, which is why British armies have large numbers of longbowmen. It's not because the British Army have the awesome longbow, it's because they're the cheapest soldiers you can buy.
But it works.
It works, yeah.
It works.
So that's why we won, because everyone else spent their money on armoured soldiers who die when you shoot at them. Actually, that's not entirely true. Arrows don't really do much damage to knights.
Depends if you have a shield up on it or not.
Well, exactly, but most arrows will not.
It depends who you're fighting.
Yeah, most arrows won't penetrate armour. They'll just bounce off. The whole idea of armour-piercing arrows is fictitious, mostly. You have to be really close in order to actually do any damage.
After the meant spear.
Well, no, you see, the arrows are simply designed wrong in terms of the technology. If you would fire something like a plumbata, then the weight, the damage would be done not by actually firing it, but by it coming down from the sky, because the weight of the ball, the lead weight in a plumbata, will increase the damage when it hits. So it's like being shot with a bullet.
Just shoot it high.
Yeah, but the arrow doesn't have the weight.
If you shoot it high though, as it goes down,
but it reaches terminal velocity and will not gain any more speed or impact power.
Okay.
Well, they don't. That's just how it works. And bear in mind, arrowheads were really dull metal. They weren't particularly. They would break and they'd be rusting the moment the moment you made them and issued them, they'd start to rust. So the arrowheads weren't particularly good. I mean, unless you can have the money to invest in steel arrowheads.
Which no one really did.
No, it costs so much money. Especially as you're only allowed to, you want to keep an army in the field, that's great, but you're only allowed to actually fight 3 days a week anyway. So
3 days a week?
Yeah. Because you were banned from fighting from any day other than Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Does that mean if it's Tuesday, Wednesday or Friday, whatever it is, if it's that day and your house has been raided by raiders,
but it didn't get raided.
You're not allowed to fight?
No, Christians weren't allowed to fight on any day other than Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday. No, I'm sorry, it's insane. It's completely barking mad, but it was an edict from the Pope.
We'll fight you for 3 days, then you can go over our border. Yes.
Apparently, the Pope thought that if he limited fighting to 3 days a week, the people who like fighting would go off and fight in the Holy Land instead, because then you could fight 7 days a week and it's fun, you know. I don't know, actually. I suppose it's just trying to stop European countries fighting each other constantly.
What? Wait, no, the day's over. Gotta go home.
Yeah, but no, European countries are constantly at war with each other. So they're constantly fighting a war here, there and everywhere, because they didn't get along. And the Pope, was it Pius? Pius II?
I don't know. I don't even know the Pope got now.
Oh, okay then. He's an idiot.
Oh, Pope Francis, isn't it?
Yeah, he's a complete idiot. And yeah, is Urban II. Sorry, he brought in the law where you only allowed to fight for 3 days a week.
3 days a week.
There was a recession on, but you still had to pay your soldiers, which meant it costs a huge amount of money to keep an army in the field, and you can only use it half the time. So what soldiers would do is, when they moved into an area, they'd get a local job.
Well, it's got that word for you, mate. Yeah, you can be a lumberjack if you want.
Yeah, that's exactly what they would do. They would walk into a town and say, "Oh, it's Thursday. I'm not allowed to fight." So they'd go and say, "I'll cut a tree down for you with my battle axe, and I'll sell you the wood." And
once you get that pig for you, we have a pot fight tonight.
Yeah. I mean, right up to the 17th century, the British Army was only part-time employed on campaign. Any soldier could drop out of line and go and work for someone.
How if they paid them more? Someone else paid them more.
Well, the British government wouldn't pay money for its soldiers.
No, so what happens if no army king pays them more?
Well, it did happen throughout history. Not to the British Army though, because we did tend to pay particularly well. The French Army paid the worst out of all of Europe. Mainly because peasants were expected to fight for a pittance because the church told them to.
I would tell them to.
Yeah, you'd be the same type of murdering psychopath who ran Europe at the time then, yeah. That sort of makes sense. No, it was Urban II at the Council of Clermont who basically made a law that Christians could only fight 3 days a week if it was against another Christian. But they could fight 7 days a week if they weren't.
Right, okay.
Yeah, it's the world you live in. Stupid. So, stupidity aside, the weapons do reflect the period. So, axes. Axe does not take skill to use. Trust me, I've got an axe, and I can cut wood with it, and I have no training whatsoever, and I'm really good at cutting wood with an axe.
You can't cut wood with it anymore because it's blunt.
Yeah, it is blunt, but that's because I kept hitting those people with it, so, yeah.
Well, no, that's because I used the rest of it to take down the colours.
I know you did, didn't you? I remember that. You use the axe, right, so even you can use an axe, which means axes are extremely untrained weapons. They're basically a sharp mace.
It's funny that door one was hammering off with the axe nearly flung my face.
Someone's got a horn. Did you hear that? The road is about 40 yards away, and I heard that horn. That's wow. He had a horn, and he saw a human that he recognised in Earth's population of 6 billion, and went.
By the way,
beep beep.
this is what I have to say on the street when someone does that.
Yeah, I say that every single time someone does that.
And people look at him weirdly.
And
like,
someone beeps for no reason and waves. I mean, look, you've seen a human you know. So what? I see humans I know all the time. I generally ignore them.
Number one, you don't even know the beepers.
Well, it could be because some idiot just walked into the road.
Do you know where the beepers are on your car?
What, my horn? No, I don't. No. We got a new car.
Oh god.
Yeah, this is an interesting factoid story. We got an entirely new car, nice shiny car, and we're pulling up to a roundabout, and some idiot came straight across the front of me, and I didn't know where the horn was, and the window was down because it was summer, and so I put my head out of the window and shouted beep beep at him, and he looked absolutely terrified. He said, "Oh my God, there's a complete psychopath screaming beep at me. Oh no." I don't think he ever cut anyone up again, just in case they turned out to be a lunatic. Yeah. I couldn't find the horn, so I just beep beep, and he stopped, because otherwise it'd have hit us. But, scared the life out of him.
I might have scared the life out of everybody else.
Yeah, but if a human in a car was driving along screaming beep, it'd make you. That's the sort of thing I do. It made sense at the time. So you've got
Mum looks at you weirdly.
She always looks at me weirdly. So we've got the axe, which is the standard axe. You get these in all these sort of kits. The sword, which does actually take quite a bit of training to use, and would be privately owned, or at least the guy who owned it would have paid cash for it, because you didn't get issued a sword for free. Blacksmiths were always knocking out axe heads. The mace, my all-time favourite weapon. I love the mace. The mace is just the ultimate combat weapon. The mace is very good, and a lot of troops use maces. The entire British Army use maces. Mace was a secondary weapon for man-at-arms, and it was a primary weapon for bowmen. Bowmen used a knife, a short knife, and a mace. So in close combat, you've got this short knife that stabs. You stab in the eye slits of the enemy soldier, and then you crush his leg with the mace, and then stamp up and down on his body, and then pull all his armour off and sell it. You're getting paid 6 pence a day. You're going to have to make some money out of it.
I bet you will.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, the British Army was a very effective army.
Nice armour.
Yeah. Yeah, then we've got spears, and the spears are just standard spears. The Scots Army, you can use these for Scots. The Scots Army used huge amounts of spears. They had phalanx. They fought in phalanx. There was a name for it, and I can't remember the name of it. There was a phalanx of 3,000 men. Just a solid wall of spears that advanced across the battlefield like a hedgehog.
Slowly.
That's how the Scots fought, yeah.
Until a cannon shot them.
This is there weren't cannon at this particular moment. I'm thinking of stuff like Bannockburn.
Catapult?
Yeah, catapults, but the British didn't carry catapults into the north. Because we didn't have the baggage train to move it. Yeah, we did use ballistas, but they were mostly for castle defences.
Scorpio?
No, we didn't use scorpions.
I give up. What's my case?
The Byzantines used scorpions. but not the. They weren't really used in Europe by that period, because castle walls had been built by then, and well, it's not going to do much damage to a castle wall, is it?
No, but it would do a lot of damage on the castle wall.
That would mean training people to use it and having a standard army and having the ability to replace parts, moving working parts, meaning you need trained blacksmiths that can work for the army full time. We weren't in that sort of situation. We couldn't afford to keep the army mobile.
It's called beating them and making them do what they want, otherwise they don't get food.
Yeah, how did that work out for the Islamic Empire?
Well, it fell. So
Yeah, right. That's how it worked. Yeah. They brought all their blacksmiths with them as they moved. They didn't pay blacksmiths. It was part of your duty. And so, as blacksmiths couldn't buy. They didn't have the funds to buy local metals and stuff, so they had to just work with whatever they could get their hands on, and most of the stuff that was stolen. And so they would be melting down armour to try and make new armour, which is just this is really bad. Not their fault. They were just in the situation they were in. Our blacksmiths tended to, or European blacksmiths, should I say, tended to be private. So they were.
How do they have blacksmiths anymore?
We do have a few, but most stuff's made by huge machines now, so we don't need them. So yeah, the spear is just there, and that's roughly does it. What battle did I mention? Bannockburn. Was it Bannockburn? Which was the last battle of the British-Scots War when the Scots got independence? Defeated Edward. Was that Bannockburn?
I have no idea.
Come on. It's English history.
I don't really care about Scots versus English.
Oh. I thought you did. Right, well...
I care about everything else but that.
There was a chap... the chap in charge of the Scots Army was de Bruce, and he was scouting the British lines on his own, with no armour. He was just riding on a pony, just looking for the British lines before the battle, and a knight charged him in full battle armour with a lance, and de Bruce just sidestepped and took the knight's head off with an axe.
What, and none of the other British army noticed?
No, not really. just something
Okay, so there's a knight charging saying there's a bolt, and no one says oh.
I seem to remember that the guy was the chap on the horse was a sort of impetuous lord who himself had gone on a patrol, but he was in full armour, and he spotted de Bruce and tried to kill him, and de Bruce killed him with an axe. So that was just an interesting historical thing that happened. I seem to remember
to not be on a horse.
I seem to remember that de Bruce's sergeants came up to help him, actually, which is probably why he didn't get killed. But it's rather dangerous for the king to be off riding around on his own, isn't it? I mean, you'd think he'd have some form of retinue.
Exactly what do you mean Scots independence from the one?
They defeated the British, and the British signed a treaty with Scotland giving them independence. Until eventually we asked the King of Scotland to be King of England, and then everything got really complicated.
Now the part of England, yeah?
The part of Britain. Well, they keep wanting, if they just had an independence referendum.
I think the capital of England should be York again.
Yeah, it'd be nice to just surround London with a huge wall and just have some food in occasionally, wouldn't it? Yeah, London's a disgusting place. Anyway, I think that more or less covers the box. Nothing else to really mention about the kit. They are brilliant figures. You get everything you need to make any number of stuff that you want. You can make all your troops spearmen, you can make your troops bowmen, or you can make your troops armed with hand weapons. So it's really up to you how you want to build them, and depending on what rules you're using. Questions?
No.
No questions whatsoever?
No.
That's really boring, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay. So yeah, that is the box, and you could do a lot of interesting things with this. You could do the British-Scots War. a Scottish Independence War. That would be really interesting to do. Or you can use them for crusades. They are generic, so you can use them for practically. Well, you can use them for any war of the Middle Ages, the very late Dark Age, medieval period. This is just the kind of kit they use, right up to the Tudor times. Although by then things were starting to change a little bit. But you could get away with using them for actually quite late, because they are very generic in their equipment and armour. So they're useful figures to have, depending on if you're doing a period that you need the figures for. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. Didn't know what I have to say about these figures, because I've only just got them, and I hadn't really thought about them when we decided to do a video, but I think we managed to wing it quite well.
Yeah, same here.
And what does Deus Vult mean again?
God will, or God wants.
Well done. You managed to remember.
Yeah.
And where did it come from? What was it used for?
A chant.
For?
I was charging to battle.
Yeah, it was the battle cry of the Crusader Knights.
Yep.
Yeah, cool. You've learned something today, haven't you?
No, I already knew it. It's just a smash thing now.
Oh, right, okay. Well, you already knew the Latin, so you've done quite well today. This is an education for you, isn't it?
Maybe.
Maybe, okay. Right, so that's the end of the video. Do you want to go over to the talky bit at the end?
So, if you enjoyed this video, please do like and subscribe, and comment down below what you think of the foot shard sergeants.
You nearly didn't get that out, did you?
Nearly didn't know. I nearly said surgeons.
Surgeons, yeah.
Because that's how it spells.
It is spelled surgeons. It's a stupid way of spelling. English is probably one of the worst spelled languages in the world. The spelling is atrocious. All words spellings are atrocious. Although modern schools are now saying that children should be allowed to spell words any way they like, which kind of defeats the object of actually doing
Oh my God,
it as a
really?
lesson. No, it's stupid.
If I do that, I can get A star.
Yeah, exactly. People like you would get an A star, and then where would we be?
People like me, have you seen when you wrote them down on that?
I can't write. I've never been able to write. I can only write in Latin.
Yeah, that's why you use a computer your whole life.
Yes, that's what a word processor is for. You just type it in and it does all the correction for you. My teachers at school used to try and decipher my hieroglyphics, and that's what they called them. So
You're such a bad writing, look at this.
I've always been a bad writer. Yeah, terrible.
Oh God, I inherited it from you.
I did a paper once and I had to rewrite the entire paper because the tutor couldn't read it.
I've got a friend.
But it was very good.
When my friend does T's, but the T ends up like a 4 because as he's doing pencil, he does then he goes down and does that. That's a 4. A posh way of doing 4.
I mean, backwards way of doing a 4. That's French. Yeah. We don't live in France. And given the way that I write things, he's probably better than me. So that's it. That's the end of the video.
I can't read your writing.
No. Well, I can't either.
You can't remember it.
No, I can't. No.
I wrote this, did I? Oh, that's so cool.
I usually write in. I jot in shorthand, so no one can read it, and I sometimes forget it. So just I go back to my notes and say, "What does that say?"
Pretty useless, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's a skill people don't use anymore. Shorthand.
What's that?
The way I write.
How do you write?
In shorthand.
Show me.
You've just seen it.
Let's do.
Yeah.
Shorthand.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Oh, for God's sake. I'm going to show you Wikipedia now. Right, so thank you very much for watching the video. It's been jolly good fun doing it. Yeah, I do like these figures, and I hadn't had a proper look at them really before. I just glanced at them, and I'm actually impressed. They're a lot better than... I wasn't really sure how good these figures would be, because I hadn't bought from Fireforge before, and I've seen them painted up, but quite often figures that are painted up aren't as good as the actual figures when you get them, and you got to work a lot to make them look good. But these are actually quite good. I like them. Certainly equivalent to most of the other stuff that's on the market. Gripping Beast and Warlord. So quite good.
Yep.
And so you've done the end bit.
Everything from me.
And that's everything from him. Goodbye.
See ya.